essential. But yes, so today, as people are kind of jumping on, just want to just say when you have questions, dump them into the comments, and we will be rocking and rolling. So, yeah, a lot has happened this last week. And just some personal experiences. Kind of rolling into the holiday season. Right now really is the time to be on top of your holiday promotions. I know this is something that every single year it seems to be kind of an issue of figuring out what exactly the promotions you want to roll, how to set those up, and all that kind of stuff. But Black Friday is coming up. We're in the middle of October now, and this is the time to be building your email list, to be testing those offers. So just kind of wanted to preface this live with that. I'm a little more casual today. I hope that's okay. And those that are just coming on, put those comments down below, and we will kind of get rolling with them. Hope everybody's had a great week. Put in the comments, where you're from. Are you coming from my local area? I know we should have a couple definitely be coming in, but put in the comments, kind of say hi. So tell me where you're at, so to speak. And so just kind of talking about Black Friday, Cyber Monday stuff. Emails are going to be critical. With all these iOS updates, and Facebook is constantly coming out with updates, and so it's really hard to kind of keep up with it. But that is why you want to own your data. So the email lists, the text lists, all that kind of stuff is very, very, very important. All right. So questions. Let's dump those into the chat. Yeah, let's keep them rolling. Now we got a good flow of people coming on. What is up, everybody? Let's dump those questions in. Let's see if we can get some good conversation going on today. Sweet. I did want to kind of talk a little bit about 2022. 2022 is, obviously right after the holiday season, right? It's the next big thing we got to kind of plan for. Fourth quarter is all about kind of getting through the holiday season, but we definitely, and that's why we kind of get an early start on what the promotions are going to be, kind of put that strategy in place and kind of put things in motion so we can really start thinking about 2022 and that first quarter, and how we want to execute that. So making goals for 2022 should be on the forefront, and that kind of stuff does usually kind of take place on, the back end, so to speak, of the holiday season after Black Friday, Cyber Monday, December. That in that area in December should be really heavily involved in like creating goals and making sure that your ducks in a row for the new year. But we should be thinking about that now as well. We have like a really cool process as far as the content planning and everything going. We have a little workshop that we can do, the content funnel map, that will help establish kind of a lot of those content pieces that we can kind of put into play and start creating, or start putting a plan to create a lot of that kind of stuff now versus later, so that when the time comes to be able to get that stuff created, we already have the things, the topics and everything like that established. So it makes the process flow a lot faster. I know we've got a handful of people on. Appreciate you jumping on. Put your name and maybe where you're from in the comments, and let's get the conversation going. Hopefully you can hear me. I know last time it was kind of a little bit of a fiasco with the audio. So if you can hear me, at least let me know. Let me know. Put it in the comments with the thumbs up or ready to rock and roll. Awesome. Yeah, Cedar. It's a great place. It's a great place. It's kind of, it's a really cool. Let's see. All right, so getting some good questions coming in. Laura, so emails. Yeah, we did do our Black Friday, Cyber Monday workshop. If you have not, if you want to replay, we actually have the replay on our YouTube channel. And we did talk about like the importance of emails. Yes, so there should be a specific page that people go to sign up for that. You can do like a little pop-up or something like that at the bottom of a page, so to speak. But ideally it should be its own landing page to where you can really showcase like, really just like the bullet point items of why people should subscribe. Um, and that kind of brings value and builds expectation too for when they do subscribe, they know what they're going to get first and foremost. And then you should have an automation that when they do sign up, you're going to immediately deliver that things that you promised them, but then you can, you kind of have that permission to keep following up, and you can build that expectation in the welcome email. And we talked about the welcome emails as part of the initial sequence or automation that you want to kick off with that. And the welcome sequence, it can be a sequence of like multiple emails, or it can just be one email. But yeah, that's kind of up to the business. So what is the best strategy to help my business between Christmas and New Year's? Yeah, the fifth quarter. So the fifth quarter, really is a really unique, it's a week, right? Christmas ends and it's right before, right up to New Year's Day. And during that time, most businesses, especially the bigger businesses, they drop their ad spend quite a bit, like considerably, which makes ad costs and all that kind of stuff just drop because the ads platform, it's all the bidding system. So the more people you have in there, the more expensive it's going to be. So when you have a lot of those bigger businesses, especially kind of drop off during that time, it really lowers the cost, and you could just punch out like a lot of really cool sales post Christmas sales. People have a ton of gift cards and things like that you really want to push, that exchange policies, all that kind of stuff. And you can add little unique things. Hey, if you want to exchange, if you didn't get the right size, you can exchange it now. Oh, and by the way, we're offering a 15% off, in our clearance section, post Christmas, stuff like that, which would be like really cool. Let's see here. What is the best email automation platform? It's whatever you're comfortable with using. So MailChimp, Klaviyo, those are some of the bigger ones. The more active campaign, Constant Contact, Infusionsoft, and it's now Keep. It's now called Keep. Those are all like different things, and so it's whatever you're comfortable with using and making sure that it has the things that you need. So MailChimp really is, it really was geared more towards just a general newsletter type thing. They have made a lot of e-commerce type adjustments to it. Klaviyo is very much an e-commerce type platform. They have a ton of built-in kind of automations and things like that you can kind of roll with, but it's whatever you're comfortable with using. And then budget too. Some are more expensive than others. So MailChimp, it's less expensive. You have less functionality. Klaviyo, you have a lot of functionality, and so therefore it's a little more expensive. So it's just dependent upon your budget, what you're comfortable with using, and really what gets the job done in your eyes. So when we get a page up, should it be in the navigation menu? Sometimes. The main navigation menu really should encompass just your main items, right? It should not be flooded with all that kind of jazzy stuff. So when you're talking about the main navigation, in this kind of coincides with a little bit of an SEO strategy as well when you're siloing your content. You should have, the homepage really is about kind of the whole idea of the website, right? The main topic. You could probably hear my dog in the background. It's gonna be awesome. But then those main pages should just be the next silo, so to speak, of information. So if you're an e-commerce store, you're going to have the like your categories maybe, and then like a contact page, and then you have your main call to action, so like a shop now or like whatever that ends up being for your store, for your website. And so, but should not encompass, try to keep it within 5 links. 5 links or less in the main navigation. Everything else can be in a sub nav, or it can be in the footer, or it can just be a landing page that you just direct traffic to. So when you're talking pay per click and all that stuff, like usually those landing pages are standalone and you don't have them in navigation or anything. You're just driving traffic directly to them for people to take a very specific action. So hopefully that makes sense. If you have any other questions that, I know that kind of is a little complex, and it really is dependent really on the business and the company and their goals, and what the website really is there for. In my mind, all the websites should be geared towards people taking an action. And so, yeah. Andrew, my man. So Facebook isn't working. What are you doing to still win in iOS while iOS continues to make things worse? This is kind of a loaded question, but it's really just paying attention to the updates. The biggest things that we're really trying to capitalize on is messaging. Messaging is, you know, I think going to be the key, and that a lot of the big gurus and a lot of the big dogs who have tested a lot of stuff and they've been around for a long time, it's like geared back towards messaging, the headlines, the bullet point items, like all that stuff really is going to drive conversions. And so because a lot of the platforms like Facebook and even TikTok, they don't provide like a lot of information that's very useful. Like Facebook and Google, their attribution for their ads and stuff like that is off. And it's ever since the iOS 14 really like was released, it's been a fiasco because of the massive loss of data and the massive misattribution. Even though that it was never perfect before, but ever since then it was really, really bad. And so utilizing third-party attribution software is obviously absolutely key to be having at least more correct data. So people like software like Wicked Reports or Hyros or Northbeam, they have like a lot of that stuff kind of built in. And depending on how much traffic you're pushing, how much revenue you have in your business will depend on some of the platforms that you'll be able to use. And there's a cost to that, but it will pay off because you actually have data you can use, which is a pretty important thing as far as tracking profitability and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so those are some of the key things that we're doing and utilizing, and really messaging is going to be the key for just about everything. When you think of the old school way of doing things where they had Ogilvy and Claude Hopkins, those guys, they back in like the 40s and 50s and 20s and early 1900s, they didn't have any of this technology. They had to write headlines to get people to take action. Now in newspapers and magazines and different things like that. So it is kind of taking a step back to that type of mentality where messaging, in the most ideal situation, you would have zero targeting. You could blast out to everybody, and the messaging would be the targeting for you. And so it's kind of gearing back towards that. Even though we have targeting, we still have some pretty decent targeting that we can do. We have the remarketing, tactics that still work so long as you have accurate data. And then, but messaging really is going to be key into not only attracting the right people, but getting conversions, getting people to act now. Benefits of TikTok. Oh man, what are the benefits of TikTok? it's a new platform, so you have a ton of people using it and trying it out and all that kind of stuff, and you don't have a whole lot of costs when it comes to ad. So one of the biggest benefits right now for TikTok is you have a massive audience, and the cost is very low, and you get a ton of activity. So the ads and stuff that we're putting out for clients right now is actually, it's kind of back in the early Facebook days, if you think about that, to where, landing page views are, 10 cents, you know, even the more expensive ones are still upwards of 25 cents per landing page view, but as it optimizes, it gets less and less and less. And so it's cheap traffic, and you can, so really that is one of the biggest benefits as far as marketing goes for TikTok. And the audience really is a very kind of diverse. A lot when it very first started, it was very much the younger crowd. It still is in the younger crowd, but you can definitely see that a lot more adults, into their lower 40s are utilizing it, which is kind of into the millennial type age. So, which is a big part of who everybody really is marketing to. So as Andrew already alluded to, everyone seems to have a love-hate relationship with Facebook, me included. We have worked hard to get the shop up, and now we aren't sure if it's worth the hassle to keep it up. So this is kind of like in the commerce accounts and stuff. There has been with Facebook going down, and there's been a lot of interesting things that have been happening. But it still is worth it in my mind to have that commerce account and to have the ability to showcase, because you can still do dynamic retargeting. Facebook is incentivizing people who put up to where people can check out on Facebook and Instagram. They're definitely giving those people kind of precedence and incentivizing them with lower ad costs and stuff. And so, yes, if you're doing any kind of advertising on Facebook or Instagram, most definitely get a commerce account, get that stuff set up. It just helps fills out your page and gives more legitimacy, especially to Facebook, that you're a legitimate business as far as it comes to products and stuff. It's easier to go viral on TikTok. Yes. And that's one of the benefits, right? That is one of the benefits, because TikTok is incentivizing people to use their platform, and they're giving people a lot of attention and a lot of views, which makes people feel good. So if we look at Instagram, for example, the early days of Instagram, and you could post something and it would, throw a couple of hashtags in there and you would get thousands and thousands of views organically. And then over time, as it shifted, as more people kind of got stuck in that mentality of I live on Instagram, so to speak, then they were like, okay, now you have to pay to play. So people used to have and it was very easy to get followers too with that. And so right now it is very easy to get followers on TikTok, so long as you just continually keep posting and posting and posting, and to try to get interaction and things like that. And so for sure, you can go viral. There's, if you're good at dancing, if you're good at doing some off-ball stuff. We had a client that posted a video of, he's in the outdoor space on the East Coast. So it was, they were in their boats, and they threw a beer from one boat to the other, and they caught it in the fishing net. And it still is getting massive, tons and tons of views. That was, a year ago or so, and it's well over 7 million views. And so that kind of exposure that you didn't have to pay for is priceless, and that's really how you get a ton of followers and things like that too, with some of those catchy videos. So diversify the videos that you put in on there, make some stuff that it's funny or grabs people's attention, things like that, and you will see your followers go up along with the views on all the videos. All right, Andrew. Yes. So TikTok seemed overwhelming. I can't dance nor sing. Can I still make ads that get traffic without doing something ridiculous? Um, yeah. So, and that's the kind of thing like making epic things, right? Can't dance, can't sing. That's cool. Like, be safe with this, but like get on like a zip line and like light something on fire and just hold that while you're screaming going down the zip line. So it's just like, what is going on? Something like that that can just be super epic, even if like, you make a really cool video going down a four-wheeler or something, and just the movement alone is going to grab people's attention and get it to watch, get them to watch a little bit farther. And so jokes are a big thing right now on TikTok, especially with some of the kids on there. It's interesting where a lot of the dad jokes, but the kids are telling the parents the dad jokes, um, and it's just funny, right? So you don't have to dance, you don't have to sing. Although Andrew, I think you would be amazing at the dancing thing. Um, it'd definitely be worth a watch. I think you'd get a lot of views. But it'd be awesome. So, but yeah, anything like that, answering people's questions, I think too, or giving some tips and different things like that, kind of intermix it. Um, but definitely like some of the epic, like throwing the beer from one boat to the other while they're both going like full speed and they catch it with the fishing net. Like that video was massive. So yeah. Well, don't knock it until you try it, man. Um, Andrew, don't knock it until you try it. Just see where it goes. Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. Loving the interaction, guys. Let's keep it going. I want to see if we can nail out just a few more minutes here. Um, Facebook is been an interesting thing. Google, it's the same. It really is the same thing. Although, um, you know, the interesting thing about Google Ads as far as platforms and stuff like that is Google has way more touch points on an individual than Facebook does, by like an exponential amount. I don't have the exact number, but I can find out and maybe talk about that next time. But Google still is like a really, really good platform, and plus they have YouTube and their display network is massive and things like that. So um, that is definitely, and yes. So Alyssa, um, Yahoo is making a comeback, uh, specifically because of all these crazy updates and things like that, and Mozilla as well is kind of going to be launching or utilizing an ad platform with their browser. That's going to be very interesting to be able to test. Um, but you're going to see more and more of these platforms start you know, to come about because of all these crazy updates and because of all this stuff. I wouldn't be surprised, if Apple came out with an ad platform or partnered with somebody to come up with Apple ads, um, or iAds. I don't know, wherever you want to, however they're going to like do that. I do think it's coming. I can't, see the future. It may not happen or whatever, but with all these changes and stuff, I mean, if you think that because Apple's blocking the data from these other platforms, if you think that they're not keeping that data for themselves, I think you're got your head in the sand, so to speak, because they do still have all that data. They still utilize all of that data. They still have partners that they are giving that data to, and they're still allowing that data to be accessed. And so, definitely, like, um, be keeping an eye out, and we are too. We're constantly seeing articles come out and things like that these ad platforms are kind of popping up. So we're going to be testing out before we actually recommend or anything like that. But yeah, it's going to be good. Um, yes. Hey, and I'm close down. We're close down to Vegas, and I think it's one of the longest zip lines ever. If they allowed me to do that, I would for sure do that. That would be awesome. This is a great question here. So, how's your onboarding process go? Free consultation? Do you filter customers? Yes. And this is something that's been an ongoing thing. So, Blaze started like a year and a half ago, right? It was like March of 2020 when the world crashed. I thought it was a good idea to start my own business, which is kind of nuts. So I left the agency I was with. They were great to me, um, but I just felt like I needed to get on my own. And so the consultations and all that kind of stuff has kind of evolved over time. But yes, we do have like what we call a discovery session now. It's a 90-minute discovery session that kind of walks you through the process of kind of our process of doing things. We've added some multiple products along the way to kind of better our processes, and it's definitely like an ongoing thing. Um, but yes, and so we utilize that discovery session to filter customers. And then as from when we started, we were, I was just super low cost, right? Because I didn't have any clients. I wanted clients. I wanted to be able to build, um, some solid case studies and to kind of prove my worth, so to speak. And now we're getting to the point to where we're filtering customers as well based off of price points. And so the customers that got on early and have that lower price points, like are lucky because now it's a much higher entry point. And then with that too, like the 90-day time frame is really kind of a filtering process to just kind of see how we work with the clients, how the clients can work with us, and if there's a good relationship there, it typically will end up being a longer term relationship. But yes, so that's kind of the process, so to speak. So once you come on, we do have a recommended uh, process that we go through called the 90-day accelerator, which establishes basically your marketing plan. It's going to that could potentially double your revenue in the next 12 months or less, if it's utilized and if everybody's active on both sides with it, right? So that's kind of how that goes. Um, yeah, that would be awesome. I'd be I'd be happy to be a part of that. Um, Maybe we could go together on it, and you can be on one side, and we can both be doing it. That'd be legit. Um, yeah, rotten apple ads for yeah. I don't know. It could be a good thing, if they did come out with their own ad platform. It could be like a really good thing. I don't know. With all the privacy stuff going on, it would be interesting. Uh, that would be an interesting play on their part for sure. And they would actually immediately take a really big piece of the pie as far as digital ads are concerned. So how would you find a balance between budgets and all these new ad platforms? So that's like an awesome. So on the lower budget ends, you should really stick to maybe one platform, maybe two, if you're testing another platform. So with some of the lower spends that we're working with, um, we've all been altering from like Facebook to TikTok, for example, for our traffic campaigns, and then we'll run a retargeting campaign on Facebook. Um, so because people do still go cross-platform, right? People on TikTok, they still go to Facebook or Instagram or whatever, or YouTube. And so utilizing those, but really the budgets, if what I say, like $1,000 a month in ad spend is kind of like your baseline, right? And so that's like $33 a day, I want to say. You shouldn't really go below that. If you're going below that, I think you should definitely stay on one platform, and you should definitely maybe have like one campaign going to like one offer, and you're just going to optimize until the offer's like working. I've learned kind of over time, especially this last year or so, that's like kind of an important thing through trial and error. And so really making it simple. But then if you have like a $2,500 ad spend, or if you have like a a $5,000 ad spend, that's where you can start kind of testing these and really utilizing a cross-platform strategy. $10,000 a month in ad spend is definitely, you know, something where you can have a comfortable budget in two different platforms. So $1,000 a month per platform is something that's like really recommended. So you could start utilizing, you know, and having somewhat of a comfortable play in two different platforms with that, with like $2,000 a month. But that's kind of like your base, really starting point. You really should be thinking much higher, around like $10,000 a month in ad spend. Um, yeah, man. Yeah, no problem. And I totally get that. Like most ad agencies don't care about the customers. They really don't. And it's quite unfortunate, but you can see that, in how they treat their clients. And um, it's, you hire them to do that one thing, and they're going to try to just do that one thing, nothing more, nothing less. Actually, they actually try to get away with less, because all they want, is to charge the most and for the least effort. Is really, and that's really, like, I think a lot of businesses kind of look at it that way. And you're going to start seeing a lot of those businesses fall off and disappear and stuff like that, because the era that we're going into really is going to be much more of a customer centric era. And so the better you treat your customers, your clients, or like whatever, the better off, um, those relationships are going to be. Trial and error. So how long do you let ads run before terminating a change is needed to be made? This is really like, that question is going to be based off of trial and error. It is going to be different based on the business. Um, there is like a recommended, if you have like an offer, you're driving traffic to a specific, to like get emails, for example, because we're doing that like right now with people. Um, and this is like one of those things where, you've got to be, if you can let a week or two go by and really try to test that message, test the offer. You can have two different ads running, and then, be testing the headlines like on the page, and then whatever starts working, start going more into that direction, right? So if you're getting zero opt-ins, for example, which right now we're kind of working with a client that's, we're struggling with getting people to opt in, and so we're really testing the messaging. The traffic generally is not the issue. It's going to be the offer on the page. And so testing the headlines and things like that. I would say that, if you go and you test things and you still can't get it to work within, like, if you can let it go 3 months, that would kind of be something to really consider. That way, it's really a lot of time of testing different messaging and stuff like that. And if you can't get it to work after that, then you should probably change something. Um, if you can't go that long, a month, I would say, to where you can be running traffic and then testing the headlines, testing the message on the page, testing all those things. And you can do like an A/B test, so you can get two different landing page going, landing pages going with two different ads going to each, to really kind of A/B test the messaging and the ad copy and all that kind of stuff. The better the click through rate, obviously, on the ads, that means people are responding to that better. And then you should really kind of mirror the landing page with the ad type of thing. So, some of the things I've really been kind of learning all about this last year and a half or so. Have you done work with business startups? Yes. Most of a lot of the clients that I brought on outside of some of the clients I was currently working with, yeah, like most of the clients that have come on in the last year and a half have all been kind of in that startup mode. I'd say well over 50% have been in startup mode, which is also kind of an interesting thing. Um, some startups, they can really get an agency and they can get like things rocking and rolling really quick. And then others, like, because you have to test the offer, you have to test like all the different avenues and stuff. It could take a long time before you find out if something works. And so we found that out as well because we've had a lot of success with getting people profitable within 90 days. And then we've coming to find, with all these changes and all the other stuff that's kind of come out with the iOS, we're really having to pivot to really focus on the offer and the messaging and all that kind of stuff. Um, because that stuff absolutely matters, and that's really some of the things that's going to get people to buy. And so with the loss of data to be able to target like we were targeting, we can still target fairly decent, but the messaging is going to be key in getting people to take action. So yes, we absolutely have worked with quite a bit of startups and currently working with some startups right now. This is awesome. I definitely went a little over today. I want to thank you for jumping on with me and asking all those questions. Like, I love it. If you had any other additional questions, feel free to drop them in the comments and tag us on stuff. We'll be able to kind of maybe answer some of those. Um, Definitely appreciate your time, and yeah, we'll see you next week.